Hello, Torah community. It's Natan here to share with you some words of Torah for this week's Parsha, Lech Lecha. This Parsha is all about Eretz Yisrael. It's about Avram going to Eretz Yisrael and Hashem asking to, and it's very fitting to have a Parsha with that as the focus, as our hearts and our thoughts and our tefillot are focused on Eretz Yisrael right now. When Avram's told to go to Eretz Yisrael, it's amazing because the first thing that happens when he gets there is a famine. Torah tells us there's a famine. He has to go to Mitzrayim. And the word that is written in the pasuk to say that Avram was going to Mitzrayim is a really interesting word. Let me just share with you for a second. Torah says, "Vayika asher hikriv lavo Mitzrayim." When Avram got close to Mitzrayim, so the word in Hebrew normally, if someone's doing something, you say "karav." He got close to Mitzrayim. Torah uses the word "hikriv." Hikriv is like when someone's like being acted upon, right? Like Avram was like pushed. It's like he was pushed to go to Mitzrayim. He was like forced to go to Mitzrayim. Like, why does the Torah use that word as opposed to just corrupt? He was like walking. He got closer. He was forced to go close. He was pushed to go close. Someone else made him go close. So beautiful idea I heard from Devin Feinstein. It says, what does it mean when someone's like pushed to do something? So there's only one other time in the Torah where that same word is used, and it's Paro when he goes after the Bnei Israel after they leave, and he goes just after them when they're at the ocean. So it says he grieved Paro. Paro was forced to go. Rashi explains there that Paro didn't want to go. He was afraid. He just saw the 10 Malchut, the 10 plagues. He saw the glory of Hashem, and he was so afraid what's going to happen. And yet, he wanted them back. So he had to swallow it. He forced himself to go and chase after the Mitzrayim. So David Feinstein said that's the same that's going on here. Avram got to Eretz Yisrael. Finally, he got there. He journeyed there. Hashem asked him, and he got there. He didn't want to leave. No way he wanted to leave. And yet, there's a famine. So he basically had to force himself to, he had to push himself to, even though there was no part of him that wanted to leave Eretz Yisrael. And I think, first of all, just to understand the mindset of Avram in that moment, it's a beautiful idea. I think also there's two things we can learn from this. One is in regard to our relationship with Eretz Yisrael. We can't all be in Eretz Yisrael right now. We live here. We have our lives here. And I think both in this moment and in our life in general, we should always feel and experience our life here with a sense of hikriv. I have to be here. I have to be here because of this, because of that. And they're all great reasons to be here. But for there always to be a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of, but really I should be there. But really I have to be here, but I want to be there. I should be there. And that's a proper perspective. And that's Avram had to leave for sure. And it was the right thing to leave. But he had to push himself to be there. And I think that's a perspective to have about being here, and not being in Eretz Yisrael, and to constantly live with that sense. And certainly right now, given what's going on and that fact that all of Klal Yisrael needs to be thinking about Eretz Yisrael. I think also there's a message there in life, which is that there are times when things are not easy. To do a mitzvah is not easy. To go over and above for someone is not easy. Whether it's in Avodat Hashem, in the sense of between me and Hashem, Avodat Hashem in the sense of me and other people, sometimes it's not natural for us to do certain things, and yet sometimes we grieve. We have to push ourselves to do it. Really push ourselves to do something that maybe you don't want to do. So even though it's not always about Eretz Yisrael, that's true, but also in life, that sometimes we have to know what the right thing is, and to even push ourselves to do it, even if we don't want to, because that's what we're being asked of by Hashem in that moment. Two questions to think about for your Shabbat table. First of all is, what is a time? When was a time where you had a hard time doing a mitzvah or doing something good for someone else, for Hashem, and how did you get yourself to do it? So that's one question to think about. Think of examples. And another question is to think about the question of, what is it about being in America that's easier than Eretz Yisrael? What is it that you wish you wanted in Eretz Yisrael, and what reason why you want to be there? Why is it easier to be here? Why is it easier to be there? And to think about that question of wanting to be there, why yes, why not, and to think about that. Okay, Shabbat Shalom.